There's a special kind of person who never quite syncs with the rhythm of the crowd. The one who doesn't just feel different, but is different in a way that runs deeper than awkwardness or introversion. Edgar Allan Poe was that person, and lucky for us, he wrote it down. In 1829, before the ravens, before the telltale hearts, Poe handed us a quiet, devastating blueprint of what it feels like to live outside the lines. It's a short poem, just 22 lines, actually, but it speaks volume to anyone who's ever walked through a blue sky day with a demon overhead. This is perfectly poetic. Let's walk with Poe for a bit, not to romanticize sadness, but to see how truth can echo through solitude. Here is Poe's full text for the poem Alone from his 1829 journal. From childhood's hour I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken my sorrow. I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone, and all I loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill the mystery which binds me still. From the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm and the cloud that took the form when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. Let's rewind to 1829. Poe is 20 years old, recently discharged from West Point, and not exactly basking in early success. He's broke. He's bouncing between cities and publications. He's nursing a fresh batch of rejection from both society and literary circles. He's not yet the Gothic icon we know, the one with the creepy bird and the morbid tales, but the blueprint is clearly forming. By this point, he's already endured more than his share of upheaval. His parents died before he turned 3. His foster father disapproved of his career. He never stayed in one place or with one audience for too long. The kind of instability that builds character, sure, but also the kind that festers beneath the surface. Alone may not have seen daylight during Poe's lifetime, but it's arguably one of his most revealing pieces. Unlike his more famous work, there's no plot device here. No black cats, no masked strangers, no dismembered hearts. Just Poe, the man, laying bare a worldview shaped by loneliness, observation, and the uncanny sensation of always being on the outside looking in. And while America in 1829 was busy reinventing itself with machines, steamboats, and cities clawing upward, Poe chose instead to turn inward. He wasn't interested in smokestacks and progress. He was interested in what the mind does when no one's watching. That makes Alone more than just a poem. It's an early field report from a man mapping his own interior wilderness. From childhood's hour I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passion from a common spring. Right out of the gate, Poe draws a line between himself and the world. This isn't just social awkwardness, it's a lifelong emotional incompatibility. He doesn't say, I felt a little different. He says, I have not been. It's definitive. There's a full rejection of belonging. Imagine the kid on the playground who isn't just off in the corner. He's in the library under a table reading a medical textbook on melancholy. That was young Poe. Common spring here means the usual source of passion, connection, enthusiasm. In modern terms, it's the group chat that never quite clicks. It's the TikTok trend that makes everyone laugh except for you. From the same source I have not taken my sorrow. I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone, and all I loved alone. He keeps going. Not only did he not feel joy the way that others did, he didn't feel sorrow that way either. His emotions were on a private frequency. If everyone else is tuned in to top 40 radio, Poe's out here with his own handmade crystal set picking up signals from the great beyond. And that final line, all I loved alone, that's a dagger. It's not self-pity, it's an assertion of independence, almost pride. Or maybe it's a quiet resignation. Then in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill the mystery which binds me still. This stanza hits like the origin story of a supervillain, or a poet, which is basically the same thing if you remove the cape. Poe points to childhood again, but now he gives us the weather report. It's stormy. He's saying the foundation of who I am was poured during the thunder and lightning years. And the mystery which binds me still? That's classic Poe, vaguely mystical, a little pretentious, and yet completely accurate for what it feels like to carry old wounds into adulthood. It's not a single trauma, it's the atmosphere around everything. From the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky. These images don't just describe scenery. They're emotional topography. The current and fountain are dual extremes of chaos and calm, but both springing from within. The red cliff suggests danger and permanence, and that golden sun, it's warmth, but it's also autumn, beauty with a time limit. He's saying nature isn't a backdrop, it's a mirror. If Poe saw a rainbow, it probably just reminded him of mortality. Honestly, if this guy had a weather app, it would just read foreboding. As it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm and the cloud that took the form when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. Here's the final punch. The world sees blue skies, and Poe sees a demon. Let's break that down. He's walking under clear skies, and a single cloud morphs into a monster. That's what depression does. That's what anxiety does. One bad thought, one small shadow, and it becomes the whole sky. The 19th century version of I'm fine, followed by a mental spiral in the produce aisle. It's haunting, yes, but it's also completely grounded. Because who hasn't had that moment where the world seems fine, but your internal weather forecast says otherwise? This last image is why the poem endures. Poe's not romanticizing sadness. He's illustrating it clearly, simply, unmistakably. So where does this leave us? We've walked through Poe's personal storm, line by line, shadow by shadow, and it's tempting to leave it as a relic of Gothic genius. But the truth is, the forecast hasn't changed that much. The question now isn't just what did Poe mean, it's why does this still hit? Let's shift the lens, bring it forward, and see what this 1829 mind map reveals for us now. Let's take a few of Poe's images and ideas and drop them into our own century. See how they hold up. Common spring becomes your algorithmic feed. Poe couldn't relate to the same source of emotion and passion as others. Sound familiar? Think about scrolling through social media. Everyone's reposting the same meme, obsessing over the same celebrity drama, or crying over the same dog video, and you're just blank. Not because you're heartless, because your spring doesn't bubble up from the same place. The phrase autumn tint of gold is your curated fall aesthetic. Poe isn't just watching the leaves change, he's absorbing that filtered, fleeting light. If he had Instagram, it'd be one photo, warm-toned, high contrast, captioned with a single M dash. Fall is beautiful because it fades, and he's clocking that expiration date in real time. Torrent or fountain, that's your personal rhythm. Poe draws from chaos and calm. Today, you've got your Pomodoro sprint timers and ambient playlists trying to recreate balance on command. His extremes were emotional. We've just branded ours with productivity buzzwords. The red cliff of the mountain. This is your inbox on a Monday, quite frankly, or Tuesday. Formidable, impersonal, somehow eternal, a looming monument to tasks that will outlive you. There's never enough hours in the day, or enough days in life. That demon in a blue sky, you already know it. It's that one errant thought that shows up during your best moment. When the world is fine, when things are peaceful, when you should feel good, but there it is. A shadow in your peripheral vision. Poe saw these things before they had names, before anxiety was a diagnosis, before introversion had a TED Talk, before algorithms curated what we should even feel or when. He wasn't ahead of his time, he was outside of it. And that's the whole point. Whether you're a poet, an artist, a night shift barista with a note-taking app full of quotes, your view, your solitude, your personal storm, it's valid and maybe even necessary. Pose alone reframes isolation not as a flaw, but rather as a framework. It's not a glitch, it's a blueprint. What he offers isn't comfort, but clarity. That's where the value in looking inward, even when the outside world is all bright skies and social expectation. What he offers isn't comfort, it's clarity. That there's value in looking inward, even when the outside world is all bright skies and social expectations. There's a strange kind of power in realizing that what sets you apart might also be what anchors you. Your perception, your weird angle on the world, the way you feel things sideways or late or too deeply. It matters. So the next time you're surrounded by people and still feel like an outlier, remember, that's not brokenness. That's voice. That's authorship. That's the beginning of something creative, something that doesn't need approval to be real. This has been Perfectly Poetic, where we celebrate the lines between the lines and the quiet truths too often left unread.